everybody. Welcome to TFT, Tarot for Today, Divine Dabblings with Oberon and Banshee. And I'm here today to present my Winter Solstice meditation, which I hope you will get a lot out of. I worked at this for a little bit of time, and I wanted to say that it is a blessing to be able to present this at this time. I wanted to have a bright light here to begin this. We're about to go into the meditation, but I'd like to give credit to the major sources I used here. I majorly adapted this from the book Tarot and Magic by Gareth Knight. This is an older book. It's probably from the mid-80s, and I think this copy is a reprint from the early 90s. And I also used The Golden Cauldron by Nikki Scully, who I'm a very, very big fan of and have used and adapted a number of her works over the decades. For those who don't know, a long time ago, either I or with Banshee or with our circle, the Circle of Wondrous Stories, often presented ritual in our community for nearly 2 decades. And a lot of times we really like to have beautiful guided meditations that served as a spiritual path working. And many people may remember those. So this is kind of a nod to that. I don't think it's going to be quite the same effect because I'm doing it virtually, but with the magic of cameras and special editing software, I hope to achieve some of that for this adventure today. And remember, this is the darkest, the longest night, but once again will come the sunlight. So I'd like everybody to relax now. Prepare yourself for this meditation, and we're going to get started. Take a deep breath. Breathe deeply. Feel the intake and outtake of pure air. Feel yourself relaxing. Count with me downward as we spin down into our deepest, darkest subconscious. 10, 9, 8. You're feeling more relaxed. 7, 6, 5, 4. You feel yourself falling down into your subconscious, alert, unafraid, expectant. 3, 2, 1. And now you arrive. You are within the well of the Golden Cauldron. And now you'll begin to rise out back into this world. Hear my words. Rise. Rise. And when you arise, Thoth is there to greet you. Healer and magician, but also keeper of this golden cauldron. With Thoth's aid, you will rise and enter the meditation. See the galaxy swirling before you. Feel the forces of infinity, the movement that represents the eternal dance and change. Through this, we will experience all the elements of the tarot archetypes, as each in turn is greeted by the eternal and cosmic Fool. He will bid them to move to the east. There they are greeted by the King of Swords, representing that east. And then as they move directly across to the west, they meet the Queen of Cups. Following downward to the south, it is the Knight of Wands. And then back up to the top to the north, the Princess of Pentacles. With this movement, the Infinity Eight, all forces are brought into extreme alignment and prepare us for our future. So let it be. The Magician, the principle of creating forms from the building blocks of the created elements to give true forms for the indwelling of spiritual beings. The High Priestess, the pure ground of divine wisdom that gives peace and knowledge of all levels of created being. The Empress, the spirit of love and cooperation between all beings in the expression of the family, of groups, of races, and of nations and species to form a harmonious whole. The Emperor, the power of the spirit, the libido of created life, the might that holds the worlds together and all species in the growing and developing splendor. The Hierophant, the brooding love of the power of the Spirit acting between the planes from the highest point of inception to the lowest point of expression. The Lovers, the principle of love between individual beings, the loyalties and links that span the ages and the aeons of the cosmos, the microcosm of the whole vast creation in the love between two souls in whatever form of harmonious relationship. The Chariot, the principle of progress from one demonstration of perfect expression to another in balanced harmony, drawn by the twofold spirit of love under the fourfold canopy of perfected expression the triumphal progress of perfected life. Justice, the principle of perfect balance, perfect justice, and perfect equilibrium, and the banishment of all that is unbalanced or evil. The Hermit, the principle of eternity that shines like a backcloth behind the illusion of linear time. The Wheel, the principle of cosmic cycles and the pattern of the dance of life, joyously trod by all who follow the measure stepped out by the Lord of the dance. Strength, the principle of perfect control of the vehicles of form by the indwelling spirit, and of the willing, loving cooperation of the lower forms of life to the expression of the higher. The Hanged Man, the principle of sacrifice of selfless love in all created beings, so that the center of each life is the good of others, rather than the erroneous attempt at protection of the self. Death, the principle of change, of transmutation and transformation, the resurrection or transfiguration to higher forms of expression by stepping through a luminous veil of transmutation or changing of means of material expression. The death known to a fallen world is a travesty, a distorted shadow of this process. Temperance, the principle of shared experience, the growing together in light and in love as experiences shared and loving friendships opened and undergone. The Devil, the principle of taking on responsibility for and abreacting all that is not balanced and true, so that only the true and the good shall be expressed. The expression of the true will of the Spirit, the resistance to the abuse of free will. The Tower, the principle of opening the will to the higher principles in all the structures of creation of the Spirit, so that life's structure shall be built on the basis of spiritual truth, and he towers of inspiration and wisdom rather than of pride and presumption. The Star, the principle of fellowship between the bodies of the starry cosmos upon all levels of inner and outer space, the love that holds the universe at one, like the apparent pull of gravity that gives spiritual weight to all things by the attraction of like to like in the field of cosmic wisdom. The Moon, the principle of reflections of cosmic principles, and through the flux and reflux of the higher cycles of beings of great spiritual magnitude, forming a true outpost for spiritual expression of sacred life. The Sun,
principle of radiation of love and light of a sacred planet, taking its place in the myriad hierarchy of cosmic beings as a newborn child in the stellar universe. The Last Judgment, the call to the new life of all that is past and in error, of all that sleeps in the veil of illusion, the birth into cosmic citizenship. The world, the principle of the perfected earth, dancing in a wreath of victory that was once a crown of thorns, surrounded by the fourfold balanced cosmic power.